Are we running out like this? Okay, good.
ULTI.TV.
Welcome back to ULTI.TV's coverage of Not University Mixed Nationals 2021. And in particular, this top 8 matchup between Birmingham and Warwick, just about to get underway, as both teams make their way to the pitch in what is frankly a gratuitous display of nonsense from both teams. But there we are. So both these teams had a really good showing yesterday. They're in the top 8 for a reason. I expect this matchup to be fairly close. So both teams just doing their cheers. We will have Birmingham on defense in the blue. Starting on the left-hand side of the pitch, and Warwick in red on offense. The wind and rain have mostly died down for this game. As Warwick field the pull, set up their vertical stack. Tight defense from Birmingham on that first pass as a pick is called. This might have been a kind of real pick that we agree with, because the stack it wasn't much of a stack, it was more of a blob. Either way, Birmingham probably should have surrounded it. But Warwick with a deep shot. Receiver has separation, and the disc sails over the defender, nicely caught in the end zone. And an easy possession will put Warwick up 1-0.
These are two teams who are very well accustomed to each other, having played within the same region for very many years. And both of them having solid retention over the years as well. So a lot of these players are actually friends with each other. But Warwick doing really well to work it down the pitch and then get the lovely huck to the end zone for their first point of the game.
So a decent pull from Warwick. Gets Birmingham starting on their brick mark. Nice around backhand. Forehand down the line. Fakes the around backhand. Goes infield for the reset. Just about manages to reel that disc in. Very disciplined vertical stack offense from Birmingham. Almost one player in the space at any one time. Upline cut, doesn't get thrown to, goes for the reset instead. Birmingham just working it amongst the handlers, staying patient. Huge layout grab to save possession. So that disc floated a bit too far. But good athleticism to bring it in, and there's the pass into the end zone. Nice, calm, collected offense from Birmingham. They'll be pleased with that as they put their first point on the board.
Yeah, the receiver of the goal, Alex Edwards, the captain for Ubu. Assisted from Natasha Taylor. Ubu doing really well to get their calm and patient offense. A lot of these players training alongside Birmingham Ultimate. And I believe a lot of the Warwick players training alongside Leamington Lemmings. Leamington Lemmings, that feels very weird to say. It's a bit too much of a tongue twister.
So high pull from Birmingham, does land in bounds. And Warwick will have to start from the sideline near their own end zone. As they go infield, find the receiver. Poole brings it down. Out to Kemp. Close coverage from Birmingham. Does eventually get the block. As Birmingham set up their own vertical stack offense. There's the deep shot. Receiver has plenty of space, but the disc is falling behind. Does manage to read it in. Defense didn't make up the ground in time. Birmingham now setting up their end zone offense, and just a nice cut to the front corner. Bit too easy for Birmingham. They'll take it. 2-1.
You can see they're very excited to have gotten that score. A little bit unfortunate from the Bears side just to have the disc soar a little bit away from where they had anticipated, but you can see that replay there. Super excited for that.
So Warwick on offense. Go for an early deep shot. Has a receiver deep. Boxes out, but can't quite get the second grab. Good effort from Warwick. It's a nice idea, but the defender did just enough for Birmingham. Good defense from Warwick to start off this possession. And it does force a mistake from Birmingham. That throw Sailing over the head of the receiver. Warwick now looking to convert their offense. But the around break throw goes straight into the poach from Birmingham. And the disc is tacoed. Birmingham player will call a technical stoppage to replace the disc. So we're back underway. Looking for options out of the stack. Goes for the high release around backhand. Does find a receiver. Tight defense from Warwick. Putting pressure on all of these cuts. And that forehand just not quite able to find the target. It was a good opportunity for Birmingham to pull even further ahead in this game. Warwick, early cut from the stack, but Yarworth just can't quite reel it in. Edwards now picking up the disc for Birmingham. Has an option at the front of the stack, goes for the break, does find it. Reeled in by Turner. And Birmingham do pull even further ahead, bringing the score to 3-1. So Birmingham with the pull. High and floaty, landing around midfield. Yarworth will pick the disc up for Warwick. Looks in field. Goes back to Asplin. Wide to Spence. But Karanash can't quite keep hold for Warwick, and Birmingham get yet another chance to pull ahead in this game. Taylor bringing the disc in. Has Firth in field. Goes up the line. Firth does reel it in. Looks deep. Goes down the line to fine. Back to Firth. Birmingham sticking with their vertical stack. That throw too high for Taylor, and Warwick get the disc back. Poole picking up, horizontal stack. Goes to Jones. Upfield to Spence. Karanash. But Poole can't quite reel that in. So Birmingham now. Bit of contact on that initial cut. The disc did go above them. We'll see if the turnover stands. So Poole checks the disc in for Warwick. Has Yorworth in the middle. But that throw to Nash falls short. Birmingham get the block. Fine. Looking upfield. Finds Lynch. Back to Firth. Firth infield to Fine. Back to Firth. Goes wide to Lynch. But the throw to Taylor just a little bit wide. And Poole will pick up the disc for Warwick. That's a deep option, but chooses to swing to Yorworth instead. Jones. Nash. And an unfortunate turnover for Warwick. Taylor with the disc for Birmingham. Has an option from the back, but Warwick are poaching off. And that around backhand to Bailey will hit the floor. So Warwick, once again, looking for their second point of the game. Asplin with the disc. Had Spence down that far side, but the disc does not find the target. Firth now for Birmingham. Goes to Taylor. And Poole gets the block for Warwick on that breakside shot. So Asplin finds Spence. Deep shot. But Jones could not reel it in. So Firth with the disc for Birmingham, looks immediately deep. Has Lynch, but can't quite get there. And Yorworth calls the timeout for Warwick, as both teams just struggling to put this point in.
A wise timeout call choice there. There's been a fair few turnovers. Both the defensive pressure and the wind is definitely affecting the players physically and mentally, and it's difficult to grind out these points when you've got too much pressure on you. So good from Yorworth in that perspective. I'm not sure whether you hold the same opinion. We've had a lot of discussions about timeouts over this weekend.
I mean, if timeouts exist, you might as well use them.
That is not the same opinion that you've held this whole weekend.
No, it is. My opinion is timeouts shouldn't exist.
Okay. Yeah, so we're just going to catch some replays brought to you by Felix Shardlow. So Warwick going to get the disc on offense here. Probably just discussing an initial plan, what they're wanting to do. And Ubu having the opportunity to set themselves up on defense. Think of a plan as to if they were to turn, or get the turn, not turn themselves.
So Yorworth checks the disc in for Warwick. Finds Jones in the middle of the field. Poole has Yorworth deep, but looks instead for Spence. Back to Jones. Yorworth looks deep initially, but now for a reset. Spence to Poole. Pick call and stack. Disc will stay with Poole. Yorworth from the back of the stack. Poach off the front, but catches it anyway, despite the coverage. Jones, just a few meters out. Has Poole at the front corner. Goes back to Yarworth. And there's the shot to the far side of the field, but Firth pulls it down. Taylor. Back to Firth. Back to Taylor. Not a huge amount of movement downfield for Birmingham. Having to work it through the handlers. Lynch now. Finds Fine. Firth. Back to Taylor. Pick cold in the stack. So disc is checked back in. Firth. Finds Strange. Back to Firth. Lynch. That's just a bit too high. And Birmingham, despite working so hard, will have to play defense one more time. Work now with some good disc movement to start this possession. Poole attempted layout grab, but disc was too far. Firth picking up for Birmingham. Has a deep option, but opts not to take it. Bailey Can't find the receiver on the near side. Asplin will pick up for Warwick. Almost got the disc to Poole, but the point block is good. And Firth with the disc finds Lynch. Goes up to Strange, who can't quite snatch the disc with one hand. Yorworth now for Warwick. Finds a reset. And almost a juggle catch from Spence. But Firth does get the block. Taylor with the disc for Birmingham. Has Firth up the line, but good defense from Warwick, shutting down all the options. There's the bailout forehand. And Poole brings it down for Warwick. Nash. Yorworth. Back to Nash. Poole now. Has Spence, but goes to Yorworth instead. And Sunbrook can't quite reel that in. Firth finds Fine. Looks off Lynch in the end zone. Firth up line once again, goes back to midfield. Is reeled in by Bailey. Goes round to the far side. It's floating. Firth's there and he does reel it in. And at long last, Birmingham do go up 4-1.
It's a pretty exhausting point, both for the teams and for my co-commentator. But solid work from both sides. It's very difficult playing in these winning conditions. And then when you're having to bring back the mental acuity to bring yourself to play offense again, to find the correct options, it is very tricky. So absolute credit to both the teams for grinding it out. Hopefully some fresh lines can give us a better perspective as to how these teams should be playing in. So now the score at 4-1. The receiver of that goal, James Firth. He's been playing uni frisbee almost as long as Harry Mason. I believe 7 or 8 years. He's also completing his PhD. Also recently became a dad. So shout out to Mrs. Firth, Mrs. Olivia Firth, looking after baby Firth, whilst James is trotting around field in Aston.
So, Blady pull from Birmingham. Warwick will bring it in on the sideline. And try and work it down the field out of this vertical stack that we've been seeing all weekend from them. So it looks like there was incorrect travel call earlier. So Kemp will have the disc Warwick, and play will resume once players have reset their positions. So up line to Scowcroft. And what a grab. Number 27, Neil McCullough. Some discussion, but pretty sure it's a goal. So McCullough does get the goal, and Warwick bring the score to 4-2.
A fantastic feat from the Warwick player. It did look pretty comfortably in, but sometimes good to double check. But I doubt that this many people would be seeing the wrong thing unless there was some weird glitch in the matrix. We all saw one thing and Whittle saw another. Remember, if you're wanting to support us, support the stream, support ULTI.TV and Hive Ultimate, subscribe to our YouTube channels. You can also financially support us on Patreon. So ULTI.TV are going to be carrying out a bunch of projects in the upcoming months, including UKU Nationals, Basel Open, potentially EXA UCF, that's still up in the air.
So Warwick with an early turnover on this defensive point. Jones with the disc, finds Yorworth. Back to Jones. Looking for Yorworth again, but has to go around the back. Yorworth looking for Kemp, but finds McCullough, who goes over the top to Wilson in the back of the end zone. And well converted from Warwick after the early turnover from Birmingham.
Yeah, after multiple receivers missing the shot from Warwick, falling into the hands of, thankfully, a Warwick offender, Wilson managed to bring the disc down for a score. Wilson, one of the brothers of Sam and Benji Wilson. There are many Wilsons in Ultimate. I reckon if you get a team of Wilsons in Frisbee, there would be that would be insane. That would actually be ridiculous, because we've got Conrad, Magnus, Dan, Sam, Benji, and there.
So Birmingham coming down on offense. Bailey finds Lynch. Keeping the disc down that far sideline. Just 1 meter out now. Edwards trying to find something in the end zone. Looks off the pop pass. Goes back in field to Taylor. Lynch was cutting, but no options just yet. Birmingham still knocking on the door. Bailey once again. And there's the shot to the end zone. Bayliss with the score. And Birmingham extend their lead to 5-3.
Yeah, some really solid and patient work. Quite a few high stall counts, and that's absolute credit to Warwick's defense. Really piling on the pressure on the dump, in the stack, and on the force. But Ubu doing well to take a breath, take the time, and eventually finding an option in Bayliss, who also got the score.
So Birmingham with the pull, fielded by Yorworth. Warwick sticking with this vertical stack look. Well reeled in. Looking for a reset. Yorworth eventually gets free and shoots it deep, looking for Kemp in the front corner. Makes the grab past the bidding defender. And that's a nice offensive hold for Warwick.
Massive heroic bid from Fine, but also good conservation of the disc from Kemp, because that could have gone quite wrong. Could have easily dropped it from the mental pressure of having a bidding player in your eye line. And that throw that we saw from Yorworth, that's quite a classic shot from her. She's very confident in terms of her throwing, has a very deep level of experience, has previously represented GB for Beach Women's. Is currently playing for Spice Ultimate. Shout out to Spice.
So Edwards fielding the pull, centering to Taylor. As we see more vertical stack offense from Birmingham. There's the deep shot, looking for Whittle. But Warwick will get this back after that unforced error from Birmingham. Wilson walking the disc to the front, has Brian Boys in the reset position. Looks off the cut from Kemp and looks off the reset, has to go wide to pull, but it's too wide, and Birmingham will get the disc on the Warwick end zone line. Not ideal for Warwick. That's Birmingham, call their set play. So Edwards with the disc. 0 meters to go. Goes back to Taylor. Edwards. Knocking on the door now, right back on the end zone line. Edwards with the disc again. Looking for Taylor. Happy to work in amongst themselves for now, as they move ever further back Down towards the brick mark. Whittle. Edwards past the bidding defender. Good give and go move from Edwards and Whittle. And the attempted layout block from Poole does not work out as Thompson catches the disc in the end zone for Birmingham, taking them 1 point closer to taking half.
A fantastic effort from Poole there in the end zone, was centimetres away from actually getting to the disc, getting it away from Thompson. Score now at 6-4. So you are currently watching the 3 versus 6. So this is one of the quarterfinals. The winner of this game will get into the top 4 and will be playing the 2v3 later on today, also on this pitch, to make it into the final. But our next game is going to be the 1v4, which is going to be Team Surrey Ultimate versus Sheffield. Both teams that we've seen quite a lot this weekend, particularly Surrey. We saw them for 2 straight games in a row. But any games that you want to keep up to date with, subscribe to the channel. You should be notified whenever we are starting a live stream, so don't just subscribe, turn on notifications as well whenever we do upload.
So Warwick on offense once again. We do find Spence on this near sideline. Infield to Kemp. Crossfield, bladey deep shot to McCullough. Reels it in the end zone, and a beautiful offensive hold from Warwick. They'll be pleased with that one.
That was a delightful shot into the end zone. You can't really ask for much better. It sat really well into the hands of the receiver. Warwick showing that they're still not out of this game. So we just get to watch the replay of that beautiful shot into the hands of the Warwick receiver. So all games except for the final, the points cap is to 13, with half is at 7. Whenever the hooter goes off, which should be in about 14 minutes, if the teams are tied, they have to continue playing until one team scores again to take the lead and to therefore win the game. But if there isn't a tie, after the hooter, the last possession is continued. But if there is a draw after that last possession, then you have to continue playing until somebody wins.
So Taylor fielding the disc and finding Firth for Birmingham. Looking to take half. Bailey now. Goes wide to Edwards. Infield to Turner. Back to Edwards. Down the line to Firth. Infield to Bailey. Looking for options downfield. But Turner can't quite keep hold of that. And Warwick get an opportunity to tie the score and stop Birmingham taking half immediately. So Wilson finds Yorworth. Has several options, but Kemp gets in front of Poole to reel that one in. But an unfortunate drop from Nash. So Firth picking up for Birmingham. And a point block from Wilson. Gets the disc back for Warwick. Horizontal stack from Warwick. As Poole gets the first under. Goes up line to Nash. Has Kemp. Has options deep. But Wilson can't pull that one down. The risk's too high and then sailing out of bounds. Taylor for Birmingham. An attempted layout from Wilson. Almost with the block. First brings it in. Harms. Back to Firth. And Yorworth potentially does get the block, but looks like the disc will stay with Lynch. Good effort from Yorworth. But Birmingham retain possession. Bailey. Upfield to Edwards. Turner into the end zone, but it's unfortunate for Birmingham. One pass away from taking half. Wilson will bring the disc to the front of the end zone for Warwick in their horizontal stack set. Yorworth has Poole. Brian Boys looking infield. Kemp just about reels that in past the bidding defender. Yorworth now on the far side as the wind picks up. Poole now finds Kemp. Brian Boys. Back to Yorworth. Looks for the reset, but that's a point block from Lynch. Edwards with the disc for Birmingham. Finds Firth. Looks deep for Turner. And Turner reels it in to take half. 7-5 for Birmingham.
That is the kind of classic James Firth shot. Just to completely suffocate and end the point. Ubu now taking half. So just one of the Warwick players I wanted to give a quick shout out to, and I'll mention why in a minute, is Brian Boys, number 37, Jasmine Brian Boys. She is part of the UKU MESH project, which is the Minority Ethnic Showcase project. And that was set up quite recently by the UKU Diversity, Equity and Inclusion Committee, in order to highlight talent amongst the minority and ethnic groups in UK Ultimate. And they will be quite soon having a showcase game held in London, which you can go along to, and I'm hoping will be streamed. I would love to catch it, because I probably won't be able to go down to London. But they will be eventually having this project to help build up the inclusion and the diversity in UK Ultimate, and hopefully give players who don't usually have the opportunity to have high quality coaching and high quality gameplay to actually have access to that. So if you can financially support the UKU MESH project, find out all the details for their fundraiser on UKU_MESH on Instagram. You can find their fundraiser link through that. It is a fantastic project. So many incredible players throughout university teams and club teams alike. And it's going to be super exciting to see how all of that progresses. So just a little bit about this tournament as well. The tournament is running under gender ratio rule A. So that's ABBA and as follows. So you have one gender ratio for A and another gender ratio as B, and then you switch ABBA as such. And we're having a rule requirement change throughout this tournament that's been brought in by ULTI to be trialled at the World Games, which is that the majority gender will be pulling as well. And that is fantastic. We will actually be seeing that throughout this point with Hannah Yorworth with the pull.
So we are underway with the second half of this quarterfinal matchup between Warwick and Birmingham. A closely fought first half. Did see Birmingham go up 7-5. So they'll be looking to extend their lead with an offensive hold at the start of the second half. Lynch now with the disc for Birmingham on the far side. Has Bayliss in the middle. But that disc just flies past the intended receiver harmlessly to the floor for Warwick. Warwick playing vertical stack once again. Yorworth can't bring that one down. And Bailey will pick up for Birmingham. Looks for Lynch, but throws a bit too far. And McCullough will pick up for Warwick. Looking for Yarworth. Only 3 minutes left of this game. So Warwick really do need to put these points in and try and tie the score before the hooter. Otherwise Birmingham will just take the win. Bayliss picking up, shooting deep immediately. And finds a streaking Evie Harms in the end zone. Warwick extend their lead, 8-5.
Absolutely beautiful shot from Bayliss. Even with two defenders following Harms into the end zone, she manages to reel it in. As we're just catching a replay of that shot. Oh, it's just so nice. Perfectly onto the break side, into the receiver's hands for another Birmingham score that brings them with a 3-point lead with only a few minutes left. So looks like Ubu will be taking the lead in this game.
So Poole and Brian Boyes fielding the pull for Warwick. Yarworth with the disc now. Finds Jones up the far sideline. Back to Yarworth. Kemp now. Jones. Yarworth. As the hooter goes. So Birmingham will take the game. But not before Warwick put in one last possession to bring the score, the final score, to 8-6.
A lovely game to watch from both sides. Ubu now into the top 4, winning this quarter-final. Next up, they will have the 2v3 game in about an hour's time. But up next on this pitch, we have got TSU versus Sheffield in their quarter-final.
Yeah, so TSU versus Sheffield semi-final coming up after a short break. We'll see you soon.
ULTI.TV.